I am Dr. S. Anbuselvi. I am going to deliver a lecture on enzyme immobilization. What is enzyme? First, the enzymes are the catalyst. It has accelerate the rate of reaction. And then immobilization means immovable movements. So what is it called as enzyme immobilization means the movement, the enzyme movement can be arrested. It is called as enzyme immobilization. So why it is need? And what is the need for this enzyme immobilization? Before you go into the session, the enzyme immobilization may be defined as the process of confining the enzyme molecule to the solid support. Okay, any support you can fix it over a substrate are passed and converted into the products. Okay, so the enzyme should be fixed to any solid support. It cannot be moved. Okay, that is called as enzyme immobilization. And then what is it called as immobilized enzyme? The immobilized enzyme is one whose the movement in the space has been restricted either completely or to a small limited region. So it can be fixed or movement can be arrested and fixated. Why immobilize the enzymes? The immobilize the enzymes is reuse purpose, and then protection from the features are degradation and deactivation, reuse of enzyme for the many reaction cycle, especially in industry oriented. The enzyme immobilization play a significant role in that. Therefore, the total cost and the production of enzyme mediated reactions can be proceed. The cost of the product can be reduced because of that reuse of the enzymes. And then next thing is ability to stop the reactions rapidly by removing the enzyme from the reaction solution. Okay, so that is you are the what is the mechanism of enzyme action? Enzyme combined with the substrate to form an enzyme substrate complex, and then finally it have formed that is of a product and the release of the free enzyme. So this a free enzyme, it have to be reused. Then we have used the enzyme immobilization technique. So another important feature is the stability of the enzyme. So enhance the stability and easy the separation of the enzyme from the product. And the product is not contaminated with the enzyme. The release of the free enzyme is possible. And then what is the history? Come to that, how the invention of this enzyme immobilization technique is the first industrial use of the immobilized enzyme was reported in the year 1967 by Gibata and co-workers who developed the immobilization of Aspergillus oryzae. So Aspergillus oryzae, especially of the enzyme called as aminoacrylase. Aminoacrylase for the resolution of the synthetic racemic D and L form of amino acids. Aminoacrylase. This is the first enzyme is immobilized. And then in the solution, the biocatalyst, they have, because the enzyme is present in the form of solution. And then the enzymes are called as biocatalyst. So biocatalyst behave as any other solute in that they are readily dispersed in the solution or the solvent and have the complete freedom of movement in the solution. The immobilization may be viewed as the procedure specially designed to limit the freedom of the movement of the biocatalyst. And immobilization separate the biocatalyst from the bulk, the solution phase to the product, okay, to produce the homogeneous two-phase mixture. So the soluble enzyme plus the substrate, you are getting the product. But at the same time, you are using immobilized enzyme means the immobilized enzyme combined with the substrate, you are getting the product and then repeated the use of the enzyme. So repeated recycle and then reuse of this enzyme, free enzyme. That is the main feature present in the use of immobilized enzyme. Normal enzyme, it is the soluble form. But here, you are immobilized enzyme, we can repeatedly use for industrial application. And then what are the important carrier matrices used for enzyme immobilization? Because you want to fix it on any solid support, right? So fixed on the solid support, the first one is inert and then physically it is a strong and stable and cost effective. So the cost of the product, okay, it is the reliable because due to the reuse of the enzymes, and then regenerable, and then reduction in the product inhibition. And then what are the classifications we are used the carrier? There are three modes of carriers: inorganic carriers, organic natural carriers, and organic synthetic carriers. So organic carriers means they have the height, the stability is there, and then it may undergo the inversion. Example is commercially used available, that is of a materials. Okay, the soluble material, porous glass, silica, mineral materials, clay, ciliate can be thus used to this. Organic natural carriers, if you are coming that, it is a more probably used. It is a compatible with that is of a proteins. And example is cellulose derivatives. The cellulose derivatives DEAE cellulose or CM cellulose and textron, polysaccharides, agarose, commonly it is available, starch, pectin and chitosan. And organic synthetic carriers means it have the high the chemical and mechanical stability. That is example is polystyrene, polyvinyl acetate, acrylic polymers. So there are three categories, either in the form of inorganic or organic. Organic, it is a further subdivided into two, that is a natural and a synthetic. So naturally it is easily available, but the main thing is it is compatible only with the protein. When compared to the synthetic, it have the low the chemical and the mechanical stability. And then what are the methods used for enzyme immobilization? There are two modes are there. So what are they? First thing is the physical and chemical. So physical method, absorption, entrapment and encapsulation. And along with that, chemical method. So physical means solid support, and then chemical method using the functional groups. So covalent bonding or either in the form of a support or cross-linking. So what are the methods it can be used for the enzyme immobilization? There are three modes are there here also. So carrier binding and cross-linking and entrapment. So the carrier meaning means physical method, that is adsorption. So adsorption means a certain molecule to hold the molecules on the solid surface. It is called as adsorption. And ionic bonding, the support having the charge, the molecules come and bind via through the bond formation. It is ionic bonding and covalent bonding. So these three categories come under the carrier binding with the support of the carriers. And then next one is cross-linking. So cross-link with that is of a functional groups. The present on the amino acid of a protein, it can interact with that is of a substrate. And then next one is entrapment. Entrapment means either that is of a complete packing of this molecule cannot able to move. That is the called as the entrapment. Example is the lattice type and microcapsule type. So these things is you can use. So ideal carrier materials, what a property? The main thing is the cost of the product, right? So the carrier also what a main important feature is, that is a low cost, inertness towards the enzyme, physical strength, stability, biocompatibility, reduction in product inhibition, a shift in the optimum pH for the enzyme action to the desired value for the process, and the reduction in microbial contamination and non-synthetic adsorption. So the main important feature is stability, physical strength and biocompatibility, and then shift towards a pH. It cannot change. And then reduction in the microbial contamination. And then what are the advantages and disadvantages of enzyme immobilization? Simple and economically we are used, and then limited the loss of activity. Once you are reuse the enzyme, the loss of enzyme activity should be limited. It can be recycled, regenerated and reusage of enzyme. Therefore, the cost of the product is to be reduced. But disadvantages, relatively the low surface area for the binding, exposure of enzyme to the microbial attack. So possible of this contamination is also there, and then low surface area for binding, and yield is often very low due to the two important factors. One is called as inactivation and deabsorption. And then next thing is naturally occurring the biopolymers. What are the naturally occurring biopolymers used as a carrier? They are the water insoluble polysaccharides. Example, cellulose, starch, agarose, chitosan, and the protein is such as gelatin. So these are the carbohydrates. Okay, cellulose, starch, agarose, chitosan, it is the protein, and then apart from that protein alone, it is called as a gelatin. And then synthetic, naturally occurring biopolymers, these are available in nature. Synthetically, we have manufactured the product is called as a easily and artificially desired. Okay, easily and artificially designed, and can adjust the porosity and then ionic, hydrophobic, and hydrophilic properties. So the mechanical strength and the longevity superior to those from the natural polymers. Example is here you are using this of a resins. Okay, so the resins have to be involved in that. It is prepared by using the compounds N-methylene and then this methyl acryl amide and then acryl glycidyl ether and glycidyl methyl acrylate. So these are the more commonly used the synthetic the polymers. Cepa beads, it is also very commonly nowadays used for enzyme immobilization. And the inorganic solids. So inorganic solids, it is the cheapest matrix for enzyme immobilization. So inorganic form, example is alumina, silica, and zeolite and mesoporous silica. So these components are used as the inorganic solids. Okay, inorganic the solids for the enzyme immobilization. And then we are coming to the first one. That is the physical methods of enzyme immobilization. The first thing is absorption. So absorption means the solid particles, it can be used for holding the enzyme on the surface. Okay, the carrier may be organic or inorganic. The process of absorption, it involves the weak interaction. What type of interaction? What van der Waals interaction or hydrogen bond. So both the bonds are weak bonds. Okay. So the carrier, the what type of carrier here used? It is a silica and bentonite cellulose. So these are the carriers. We can use it for the absorption. And the example is catalase and invertase. So these two enzymes can be used for the absorption. And then this method is very simple and mild with a wide variety of the carriers. So different type of carriers we have to use it there, and then simultaneously the purification as well as the enzyme immobilization also carried out without any conformational changes in the enzyme. That is the main important feature of this. So here two bonds are involved. One is called as hydrogen bond. Another one is by van der Waals forces. An important unique feature is it proceeds the enzyme immobilization, but it does not undergo any conformation changes in the enzyme activity. And then next thing is what are the four procedures? Okay, so four procedures for immobilization by absorption. There are four. First one is called as a static process. So static process means the enzyme is immobilized on the carrier simply by allowing the solution containing the enzyme to contact the carrier without stirring. So without stirring, static procedure, it is carried out. And the next thing is called as dynamic batch process. So dynamic batch process means the carrier is placed into the enzyme solution and mixed by stirring. First one is no stirring. Here it is a stirring or agitated continuously in a shaker. So in a shaker, continuously you are doing, automatically it is called as a dynamic batch process. And the third one is called as the reactor loading process. So reactor loading process means the carrier is placed into the reactor and then the enzyme's action is to be the carried out and bring about the interaction between the carrier and the enzyme molecules. And the next one is called as electrodeposition process. So here what you are doing, the presence of the electrodes. So the carrier, if you have taken the carrier, it is a place very close to the one of the electrodes in an enzyme path. So in the presence of current, the enzymes easily migrate to the carrier and get deposited on the surface. So enzyme go and bind to the carrier in the presence of the electric current. It is called as electrodeposition process. So that these are four processes it is carried out. One is as such it is presented without stirring. That is called as a static process. And the second one is called as the dynamic process. And then third one is called as reactor loading process. And the fourth one is called as electrodeposition process. So all the four processes, the different type of enzymes can be used. So the enzyme is alpha amylase. If you are taken, the carrier is calcium phosphate. And the catalase, if you are taken, it is called as the charcoal. And invertase, if you are taken, the carrier is agarose gel or DEAE or Cephatax column can be this used. So agarose gel, DEAE, Cephatax column most commonly used for this invertase. So okay, alpha amylase, which food industry, especially our food industry, starch hydrolysis, alpha amylase is used. And catalase, the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide. And then invertase, especially in the sugarcane industry, they convert that as of a sucrose into the fructose and glucose. And then what are the advantages and disadvantages of this adsorption method? No reactive species are involved. There is a little or no conformational change in the shape of an enzyme or immobilization. Very easy and economic method. It is a easy method for preparing this immobilization method and then easily reversed to allow the regeneration of the catalyst. Catalyst means enzyme. So recycle, regenerated and reuse. But the disadvantages, the desorption of the protein from the carrier is only due to what? The weakness or the bond force. Okay, there are two forces, van der Waals force and ionic bond. So these forces they can bring about with the subsequent loss of catalytic activity and contamination of the product. And the next point is limited reliability. So limited reliability when absolute immobilization of an enzyme is desired. Okay, and the next point is you are coming to this is called as entrapment. So entrapment means in the entrapment, the enzymes or the cells are directly attached to the solid surface, but simply trapped inside the polymer matrix. Okay, inside the polymer matrix. The enzymes are held or entrapped within the matrix is what? It is made up of gel or fibers. Okay, it is done in an easy way to retain the protein while allowing the penetration of the substrate. It can be classified into either in the form of a lattice or the capsule form. So in which mode we are using this? They have to use it in the form of a gel or capsule form. So first point is inclusion in gel. Gel form, if you are using, normally you are use that page, that is a polyacrylamide, right? Gel, you are using polyvinyl alcohol gel is used. And either in the form of a fiber, you can use the cellulose. And polyacrylamide gel is used. And inclusion in the form of microcapsule, you can use polyamine, polybasic acid, chloride monomers. Okay, so these are the things. So entrapment means it hold. Okay, so the method is based on what? It's occlusion of an enzyme within the polymer network. The polymer network is either in the form of polyacrylamide or alginate commonly used and allow the substrate and the product can allow to pass through that. But enzyme is present in the entrapment manner. So this is the way the porosity of a gel lattice is controlled to ensure that the structure is very tight. It is to not prevent the leakage of the enzyme. The enzyme is tightly packed in the entrapment, and enzyme or the cell, and at the same time the free movement of what? The free movement of substrate and the product. The enzyme should be entrapped within the matrix or a gel, but the substrate and the product is freely move. And this is the important thing is that. So the entrapment, there are two modes are that, either in the form of a gel, inclusion in the gel, or inclusion in the fiber, or inclusion in the form of a micro capsule. So three modes you are having this. So first point is in the gel, if you are taken, example is a polyacrylamide gel or polyvinyl alcohol, polyvinyl pyrrolidine gel, you are using, the enzyme is glucose oxidase and urease. So these enzyme glucose oxidase, especially for the diabetic patients, they have using sensors, right? So that biosensor manufacturing things, they have to the enzyme to be immobilized via through this method. So this entrapment method, especially in the form of a gel, inclusion in the gel and inclusion in the fibers, the enzymes are supported on the fiber format. The fiber format is made up of polyacetate, collagen, cellulose, etc. So the collagen fiber is especially for immobilizing the LDH. What is LDH? It is a lactate dehydrogenase complex. And the last one, inclusion in microcapsules. So the enzyme entrapped in microcapsules are formed by the monomer mixtures such as polyamine, polystatic and chloride, polyphenol and polyisocyanate. So these components can also be entrapped in microencapsulation. Okay, what is encapsulation? That is of the liposomes, that is the micelles. Okay, so a drop of oil, you put it on the water, you can observe the micelles, right? So same thing is here, we are using that as of a micelles. So micelles, they have the polar heads and non-polar tail is there, lipid bilayer. Okay, these liposomes, what is it called as a liposomes? The liposomes are small artificial vesicles of the spherical shape that can be created from cholesterol, phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylserine, sterline amine and sphingomyelin. The sizes ranges from 30 nanometer to several micrometers. These liposomes, so many functions are there. Drug delivery system, nanoparticle delivery systems. These cases, they have to use it there. But this liposomes encapsulation also useful for the enzyme immobilization. And another one is called as a reverse micelle entrapment. This is the latest technique. It is a nanometer size, very smaller size. It is about 1 to 10 nanometer. The water droplets are dispersed in organic media obtained by the action of the surfactant. Surfactant, what is the surfactant? The surfactant molecules organized with the polar part of the inner side are able to solubilize the water, and a polar part is in contact with the organic solvent. Okay, so this is the main thing is that. And the next thing is lattice type. So lattice type entrapment means the entrapment involves entrapping the enzymes with the intestinal spaces. The smaller spaces is there. The spaces of the cross-linked water-soluble polymers. Some synthetic polymers such as polyacrylamide, polyvinyl alcohol and the natural polymer such as starch have been used to immobilize the enzyme using this technique. So these are the lattice type. Lattice type means a cross-rock like that. Lattice type formation is there. And then microcapsule type entrapment or encapsulation with the membrane confinement. So it involves the enclosing the enzyme with a semi-permeable membrane. It is easy to pass. The molecules are easy to pass through the membrane Therefore, it is called semi-permeable polymer membrane. Example, semi-permeable conditions are nylon membranes in the shape of a sphere. So the membrane is present in the form of a sphere. Okay, and this is called as microcapsule type entrapment. And then advantages. So what are the advantages of this entrapment? It is a simplicity and no changes in the intrinsic enzyme activity, and it involves no chemical modification and minimal enzyme requirements, and the matrices are available in the various shape. Okay, so various shape, the matrix also available. The requirement of an enzyme is very less. Okay, but here no chemical modification, nothing is there. So, and then disadvantages, the enzyme leakage is there, and then smaller sized molecules, substrate and the product can be used, because that only can be moved. And then next one, it is recover the delicate balance between the mechanical properties of the matrix and its effect on enzyme activity. And the last point, the presence of the diffusion, that is of a diffusional constraints. And the next thing is micro encapsulation method. The nowadays it is very commonly used in that the enzymes are immobilized by enclosing within the semi-permeable polymer membranes with a controlled porosity of 1 to 100 μm. The term microcapsule means the capsule size is very smaller, spherical particles. The size is between 50 nanometer to 2 nanometer. Okay, 2 nanometer, it is the 2 millimeter containing a core substance. And then enzymes are immobilized in this manner is a physically contaminated, that is of a membrane. When the substrate and the product molecules are ready to diffuse across the membrane is made up of what? Made up of cellulose nitrate and 1,6-diaminohexane and polystyrene. Okay, so these are the things using. So the up to that entrapment is the over. And then next you are coming to the covalent bonding. So based on the binding of enzymes and the carrier, hereby covalent bonding. So covalent bonding means automatically it is a chemical related. It is coming the your involvement of the functional groups. So what are the functional groups involved? Already you know that amino group, carboxyl group, sulfhydryl group, hydroxyl group, imidazole group, phenolic group and thiol group. So disadvantages, the covalent bonding may alter the conformational structure, but the previous one, adsorption and entrapment, no changes in the shape. But this say they alter the conformational structure and active center of enzyme. So it is a result in what? Result in the major loss of the activity or changes in the shape of a structure, especially of substrate. And advantages, if you are taken the binding force, the force between the enzyme and carrier is strong. Previous one, it is very weak, ionic or van der Waals force, that only it is involved that. But here it is the strong bond, there is a no leakage of enzyme. But the previous one, the leakage of enzyme is occur. So even in the presence of substrate or the solution of the high ionic strength. And then covalent linkage. So here covalent linkage, the enzyme is attached to the matrix by means of the covalent bonds. Immobilization of enzyme by covalent attachment to the carrier or the matrix must involve the functional groups of the enzymes that are not essential for catalytic action. No reagent must be added which would affect both the binding and activity site of an enzyme. So the covalent linkage between the carrier and the enzyme can be established by different modes. So what are the modes? The first point is formation of isourea linkage. Via through this linker is cyanogen bromide activation. And the second one is formation of peptide bond. The linkages, that is carbonate and imidate coupling. And then third one is formation of bi or polyfunctional reagents. And the last one, the formation of diazo linkage. Okay, so all the 4 ways we have to carry it out. Cyanogen bromide activation, the inert support material is cellulose, PVA polyvinyl acrylate, and then Cephadax containing the glycol groups are activated by cyanogen bromide. This activated carrier then covalently linked with the amino group of the enzyme is called as isourea linkage. So this hydroxyl containing support combined with the cyanogen bromide, you are getting the activated support. That support you can bind it with the enzyme, so it automatically have formed the linkage. This is called as the immobilized linkage via through cyanogen bromide activation. And the next one is called as carboimidite coupling method. In the carboimidite activation method, the support material have the functional group is what? The functional group is carboxyl group, and the carboxyl group is act as the functional group. It binds with that is of a water soluble carboxamide, carboxylic acid containing the support, water soluble carbamide. It form that is of a activated support, and the activated support combined with the enzyme to form a peptide bond. See double bond ONH formation, that is the amide bond formation, that is called as the peptide bond formation. Therefore, it is called as carbodiamide coupling mechanism. And then next one, activation by bi or polyfunctional reagents. The sum of the reagents such as glyceraldehyde can be used to create the bonds between the amino group of enzymes and amino groups of the support. So here instead of carboxyl group, you are using the amino group containing support. So the important supporter carrier is, here it is glyceraldehyde. So this glyceraldehyde, it is bind, you are converted into this activated support. This activated support bind with the enzyme. All the groups you see that it has the NH2 group is involved. So NH2 group is bind with that and then bring about the immobilized enzyme. Okay, so this is thing. So all the cases you see the advantages and disadvantages, it is very strong. And then leakage of enzyme from the support is nothing is happened there. But it is a simple, mild and successful method. But it is what is the important disadvantage, the structure and the chemical modification of the enzyme. So enzymes are chemically modified and so many are denatured during this immobilization. Only the small amount of enzymes can be immobilized. Example, that is 0.02 gram per gram of matrix can be immobilized. High quantity cannot be immobilized using this method. And then ionic bonding. So ionic bonding means the ionic bond, also strongest bond. It is between the molecules with the charged particles, positive and the negative. And then surface density charge, the surface charge density is also present on the matrix is higher, the greater would be the amount of enzyme bound to the matrix. The enzyme binding via ionic interaction during immobilization, it depends on what? Depend on the charge. The charge is implied on what? A pH of the solution, the concentration of the enzyme and the temperature. So these are the factors that determine the ionic bonding between the enzyme and the carrier molecules. And the commonly used matrix based on ionic binding means polysaccharide containing compounds such as DAE, cellulose, dextran, carboxymethyl cellulose and chitosan. And the synthetic polymer is polystyrene derivatives, polyethylene glycol and polyvinyl alcohol. And the last one, inorganic molecules such as called as apyrite, alumina, silica and bentonite. So what this method is indicate means this ionic bonding is lead to the minimal changes in what? The enzyme conformation. So advantages, it is a low cost, the regeneration is possible, easy preparation, but the disadvantages for industrial purpose, it is not use effectiveness. It is gradually decreases its enzyme immobilization activity. And the last one, we are coming to this cross-linking. So cross-linking involve that is of a intermolecular, the cross-linking of the enzyme molecules, even in the presence or absence of the solid support. This method produce three-dimensional cross-linked enzyme aggregate, that is of a matrix-like formation, is the insoluble in water by means of the multifunctional reagent that link covalently to the enzyme molecules. And these are the example. The best example for cross-linker is gultraldehyde. Gultraldehyde is called as a bifunctional cross-linking agent which effectively hooks up the amino group of an enzyme. It is especially used for the enzyme is called as glucose isomerase. Okay, and then advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, very little desorption is there. The enzyme is strongly bound and higher stability. With a higher stability, even you're changing the pH, ionic strength or substrate concentration, it does not undergo any change. And the disadvantages, the cross-linking may cause the significant changes in what? Changes in the active site, and the not the cost effective. And then see all the comparison between this. What is the thing? There are the four methods we are compared here: adsorption, covalent binding, entrapment, and membrane confinement. So the cost wise, if you are thinking that it is the very low, and then high it is the covalent bonding and membrane confinement. Moderate method is entrapment. And then binding force. The binding force is variable, strong, weak, strong. And enzyme leakage, if you are taken it, that enzyme leakage also yes, no, yes, no. So running problem, high it is up in that is of adsorption, and selectable, low in that is of a covalent bonding. Entrapment, it is high, and then it is there. So applicability, if you are taken it, selectively it is used for covalent bonding, widely it is used adsorption, and very widely it is used in the membrane confinement. Okay, so these are the things. And then microbial protection, which is applicable, entrapment the cases, and membrane confinement only what happened that the microbe is this. So this comparison it shows. And then last we are coming to this limitations of this. Okay, so here you have to see this limitation of enzyme immobilization, the cost of carriers and immobilization, mass transfer limitations, the problems with the cofactors and regenerations, and the problems with the multi-enzyme systems, activity loss during the enzyme immobilization. So the cost of the carrier and the membrane transfer, the problems with the cofactor and the regenerations, and multi-enzyme system, it is not applicable, and activity loss during this immobilization. And then applications means immobilized enzyme. The first isolated is amino acrylase. It can be used for the production of L-amino acids. In food industry, the fructose syrup, it is more commonly used that immobilized enzyme is invertase or glucose isomerase, and immobilized enzyme glucose oxidase used in the biosensors. Accurate analysis of a sample done with the help of a specific immobilized enzymes. So immobilized enzymes or cells are used in the industry for the production of various industrial products. So amino acrylase, especially for optical conversion of this or resolution of D and L amino acids, alpha amylase and glucoamylase, food industry, starch to glucose, and glucose isomerase, glucose to converted to fructose, and penicillin amidase, production of penicillin, 6-amino penicillic acid from penicillin, and beta galactosidase, the hydrolysis of the lactose in milk or whey. So these are the various industrial enzymes. It is immobilized, and then production is for the industrial application. Finally, I come to the conclusion that with a vast array of research on enzyme immobilization, we can conclude that it is one of the most promising technology for highly efficient, economically competent biotechnological process, especially in industry, in food industry, agriculture industry, biotransformation, and drug industry, pharmaceutical, and food industry. Enzyme-based technologies, especially of strategies, are increasingly replacing the conventional chemical methods in both the laboratories and industries with attributes like efficiency, quicker performance, and multifarious use. However, the commercialization of immobilized enzyme is still lower in a pace because of the cost and the storage problem. Okay, so the main thing is here, we have to more concentrate for enzyme immobilization and the production. So these are the important unique features. We have to see that, and then only the commercial product, whatever the product is come to here, you have to see that. Okay, so this is the main thing is that in the life to make it the product at a cheaper rate. So the enzyme to be immobilized and make the product at a cheaper rate. Thank you so much.